أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم استغفر الله به هدي الشيخ زولو هدي الشيخ صوفي با هدي بورم دام سرين كريم قاعد اللو to the Jeff Sheikh Rahman Ba to the Jeff Sheikh Ibufa Rocky Sheikh Sufi Ba Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa taqabbal minni wa ajika al-karim kawli tahibar alayka bi astaghfirullah bihi. That is just Sheikh Ayaba Bey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Astaghfirullah al-azim wa atubu ilayhi min zawahirin wa min ghayub. Astaghfirullah al-azim wa atubu ilayhi min zawahirin wa min ghayub. سألته بياقي وجه الله مغفرة من جملة المناهي تبت له من جملة سجائري مع الكبائر ومن دمائري غفر لغفر كل ما تقدم وما تأخر وما بينهما فهمني العلم وزدني علما وعملا وأدبا وفهما ربي لكشف العلوم النافية واجعل آياتي من شك همانية يكشف لي على السراء والغوامضة يا خير من كشف سرا غميرا ليش ما جميع ما تفراك لدى حتي من الكري وصفي الكلدى لكل دا تفكر الأزمية ربي بيكون والتسي من كلامية أبلي يا أكرم في التلاوة خيرا كثيرا منك واللاوة بارك لي اللهم في آياتي وجعل فؤادي وطن الآيات أبلي كوني بشكول من يأتوب وليس واحد بما الغيوب كابل نكون به تاهرا من الذنوب والمعاصي والآفات حتى أدخل الجنة التي وعد المتقون برحمتك يا رحمن يا رحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم بسم الله ربي بما يشرح لسانك الفجاء بجاه أفضل من لله كالجاء ربي بما يشرح لسانك الفجاء بجاه من لله كالجاء حمدي لرب كريم لا شريك له وسجد يوما وصلاتي أملا محمد صلوات الله في عبادي عليه في حزبه كولي بإقلاء أتهو إلى ذي مواهبه نجومة الكلك ما يكتار من براء نجيت أجلاء ومن كركماني تكريم آل وكول ميلغان بريا رحمن هاب لجميع الكلك رحمة من يبنيني شريما قرآن أقرأ نمة مصطفى كل مفسداتين والطاع ملك الخيا من جاد بداء يا مالك الملك يا من جل أنك وعدين ارحم جميع وارا حادين بداء يا مالك الملك يا من جل أنك وعدين ارحم جميع وارا حادين بداء يا مالك الملك يا من جل أنك وعدين ارحم جميع وارا حادين بداء ما هوت ما كناها الكلب من درارين بجاه يبتلي من الله قد جاء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم 19 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن شاء الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم 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 الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد استغفر الله ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آيات الكرسي. بسم الله. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق الناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره والمقدار العظيم. استغفر الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. استغفر الله. Excuse me. استغفر الله. Astaghfirullah, 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 Birullah, astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah bihi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Astaghfirullahaladzim alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullahaladzim alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullahaladzim alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Surely Allah and the angels and prayers and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, O you who believe. Send the highest prayers and blessings upon him to his mighty rank and abundance. Bismillah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad, 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 sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, 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 sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, 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 sallallahu ala sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu ala sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu ala Muhammad, la Muhammad, sallallahu ala 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 Muhammad, sallallahu Muhammad, sallallahu ala Muhammad, wala Muhammad, sallallahu ala 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 Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad, 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 sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin biyadadi anfasu maklukati. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin biyadadi asharu majurati. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin biyadadi hurufillahi wa ta'awati. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin biyadadil bidayati wan nihayati. Mina mawdumi wa mawjudi ila ba'dal abadi wa sallallahu ala khairul khalqihi Muhammad wa alihi ajma'in. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 100 Ya Rahman for the first 10 days of Ramadan for the mercy. Inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Rahman, 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 Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, 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 Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, 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 Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. 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 Allah says in the Holy Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, call on Allah or call on the Rahman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. He also says, Qul la ilaha illallah wa tuflihun, say la ilaha illallah, and be of those who are successful. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha shay wafa, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. ilaha illallah, la 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 ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha ilaha illallah, la 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 ilaha Sheikh Sufiba, la ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha derece borum dam, la ilaha illallah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahu mulku wa lahu hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahu mulku wa lahu hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahu mulku wa lahu hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There is no God except Allah. There are no deities worthy of worship. There is no other being in existence except Allah. He is one, having no partner with him. All sovereignty belongs to him and all praise belongs to him, and he is the all-powerful and all-doing. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin. Astaghfirullah. Kaf ha ya ain sod. Kaf ha ya ain sod. Kaf ha ya ain sod. Kufitu kula dirarin yalahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Habli muradiya kama awahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Yasir li al-usra kama awahu bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Ala nabi al-mustafi alahu salibi la ilaha illallahu. Salatu mugnin bi salamalahi bisiri la ilaha illallahu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu ala mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره والمقدار العظيم. Barke Sheki Bafar. 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 Barke Sheikh Ibrahim. Derece Sheikh Sufi Ba. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Juma Mubarak. Ramadan Kareem, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praises due to Allah, Lord of all the worlds. We thank you, Allah, for gathering us yet again, Ya Jamil, for another Friday night Darrah, Ya Allah. Thank you for making us to see another Ramadan. Ya Allah, may this Ramadan be successful. May you accept all of our fasts, Ya Allah, for we fast for you. Ya Allah, may you be the reward for our fast, Ya Allah. May you accept our du'as. May you increase us in every way good this Ramadan, Ya Allah. May you allow this Ramadan to propel us forward exponentially in our spiritual walk, Ya Allah. We thank you, Ya Allah. We praise you, Ya Allah. Thank you for all of the sheikhs, sheikhs, jurins, disciples, and friends of the Darrah. Ya Allah, may you keep all of our families safe in and outside of our presence. Ya Allah, may you keep us safe from ourselves. Ya Allah. That is just Sheikh Sufi Ba, Ya Allah. May you increase our shape and his light, increase him in his proximity to you, Ya Allah. Dr. May you increase his station, Ya Allah. That is Jeff, may you continue to protect him in all of his travels, Ya Allah. See to it that your will be done in his life. Increase his mercy. We thank you, we love you, and we ask that you increase our heart's capacity to love the Sheikh more and more and more, Ya Allah. Infinitely, Ya Allah, in this life and the next. That is Jeff, that is Jeff, that is Jeff. Sheikh Sufi Ba. All praises, all praises, all praises, Ya Allah, for our beloved speaker this evening, the Maulana, Dr. Ahmad L. Astaghfirullah for tearing on, Doctor. The floor is yours for your discussion this evening on spiritual practices and the nervous system. Astaghfirullah Aladeen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Doctor.
Alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Let me turn my camera on. All right. I'd like to thank everyone for showing up this evening for this lecture. The lecture is titled Esoteric Practices and the Central Nervous System. So I'm going to narrow it down to meditation and the nervous system and how the practice of meditation can heal your nervous system. Because anytime we're doing spiritual work or even you could say magical practices, meditation is the core and foundation of any type of esoteric practices, or I could say alchemical practice. So let's just use the word alchemy. So any type of alchemical practices, meditation is the foundation. Okay, so I know we have some new people in the Darrah. So about me, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and also a doctor of Chinese energetic medicine, or also known as medical Qigong, martial artist. Still train regularly, daily, and I have a few other like titles that I won't get into. So I just want to get into the lecture because esoteric practices, that's what we strive for in connecting to our center, which our center connects to the Most High, or Allah, or the Goddess, God, Goddess, whatever you want to call that supreme being, depending on your walk of life. So that connection is key, and also connecting to your core, or like your center. If you ever heard the terminology, oh, center yourself, be still. If you're able to get out of character because someone or something has upset you. And I know most of us have been through different life traumas while growing up, or even as a grown up or an adult, or even just dealing with life on this crazy planet. You need something to definitely become a routine and regimen in your daily practice. I know us in the Darrah, we have a lot of spiritual practices to do, a lot of zikrs as well, whether if you do them audibly, inaudibly, subaudibly, or inaudibly. So subaudibly will be like a whisper, and inaudible is doing it in your head, which surprisingly is more powerful than sometimes saying a zikr or a mantra or an affirmation out loud. So that shows you how the speed of thought works in this you could say in these layered dimensions that we're living in. Yeah, we're living in a third dimensional world, which is transforming, but our consciousness and mind, as we do our practices or even as we sleep of meditation, it takes us to those realms. And it's about, change and transformation, the alchemical transformation that that is necessary. And it's never enough, like that James Bond movie. The world is never enough. Spiritual practices is never enough, especially foundational practices. So again, touching on meditation, it's very important to learn how to still the mind. So I'm not going to take a poll or a survey, but how many of us have lost our center, but still couldn't still ourselves, or we were like, I would say, taken off or off guard by surprise. And sometimes, you could do your mantra or zikr in your head, but there's a trigger and an element that has disrupted the nervous system to why it has freaked out that way, for lack of a better word. So meditation. So I do have a PowerPoint. We'll get into this evening's lecture, but we're going to touch more on, it's going to be a little bit more educational. We're not going to really do any exercise, but the central nervous system and how Taoist practices, meditation. We're going to touch on some Hindu practices as well, and Buddhist practices as well, and some data on why meditation helps to reset the central nervous system, or the nervous system, your internal self, your core, your center, because there's always a battle and a fight going on within the body, within the mind, within the realms of consciousness, within the body, the soul, the spirit, your energy body, astral body, physical body, and your blood cells, and your central nervous system. Those are the demarcation points for moving on to those higher realms and putting yourself there. So I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint and get into the lecture. Hold on one second. Let's see. See. Hold on. I'm not tech savvy, so give me a second. Okay. All right, can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Doctor. Inshallah, Doctor, if you go to the bottom and press slideshow, it'll show up on the whole screen. You control from there, inshallah.
Slideshow. Let's see. There we go. Jeff, Sheikh Mustafa. All right, so let's see. All right, so today we're going to talk about the meditation Qigong and Taoist breathing. Of course, we're going to touch on Buddhist breathing, Hindu breathing, because they're all similar, and they're just different roads going up the mountain to achieve the same goal, which is connecting to Source, Allah, the great cosmic mother, whatever you want to call that supreme force. All right. So with these three sides here, we talk about breath as a remote control. So breathing is both automatic and voluntary. making it a direct lever into the autonomic nervous system. So as we know, slow diaphragmatic breathing stimulates the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is, some sources say it's the longest nerve in the body. Depends if you have a long torso, short legs, and if you have long legs, short torso, then I say more so your sciatic nerve is longer. But the vagus nerve is very important. It runs through, it's one of the 12 cranial nerves, I believe number 10. So it runs from the cranium down into the digestive system and into the sexual organs with females. So a female that's paraplegic, it's been scientifically shown that during sexual intercourse, they can still have orgasm, even though they're paraplegic. Let's touch on that. Okay. All right. So with the slow diaphragmatic breathing stimulates the vagus nerve. So that lowers the heart rate and blood pressure. It's been scientifically proven. Also reduces cortisol and adrenaline. It's that fight or flight. So again, going back to traumas that we've experienced, whether it's like bullies, parents, family, friends, teachers, fake friends, et cetera, siblings, that adrenaline rushes in and that cortisol also rushes in as well. So the body's more so in like fight or flight all the time. Hence why, there's conditions like ADD, ADHD, insomnia, anger issues, or mental health issues. And this is all scientifically proven. So, all right. So with the breath as remote control, it signals safety to the brain stem. So long, smooth exhales enhances the vagal tone or vagus nerve. So you can do like a breathing pattern, like you do 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, exhale 8 seconds, 4 seconds hold. So that long exhale that's longer than the holds and the inhalations helps to reset the vagus nerve and actually just the nervous system itself. So moving on to the second column with meditation. Meditation rewires stress. Consistent practice physically alters the neural networks. The amygdala, which is the threat detection center, if you want to go into fight or flight. So that becomes less reactive. And the prefrontal cortex gains stronger emotional regulation. So that means the person that cuts you off on the highway is not going to trigger you. Whatever triggers that they have on the idiot box of TV, or if you just do the social media to get your news, it's not going to trigger you. You'll be less triggered. You just let it like pass by like a floating cloud in your mind or in your brain or in your mind's eye. Okay. Again, going back, it says the prefrontal cortex gains stronger emotional regulation. Default stress loop weakens. So that default loop. So again, that's the trauma, the triggers. So the loop is what the nervous system is in because of a trauma that's stuck in the subconscious mind, or if it's stuck in the tissues, it's stuck in the fascia, it's stuck in the muscles. There's a loop there. Even if insomnia, if you're thinking too far out in the future, I gotta pay this bill, I gotta pick my child up, I have to do this. You're stressing. You're stressing on something that's maybe impending, maybe not. But with meditation and breathing, it helps you to transcend that to where you can go to sleep. Okay, you have to do this tomorrow. I have to do this next week, next Wednesday, next Thursday, next month, or if this project due. It's not going to stress you. Okay, you know what you need to do, and future things that you'll need to do is no longer in that loop. Okay, so again, default stress loop weakens and baseline sympathetic arousal drops. The brain imaging studies confirm structural changes in fear regulation circuits. This is all through science. And touching on Qigong movement, because meditation is a form of Qigong. which is energy work. And I know I touched on it in the past. Qigong, the original name for Qigong is Daoyin, Daoyin, Daoyin. Okay, so Daoyin or Qigong movement integration combines slow, coordinated movement, gentle stretching, relaxed breathing, and focused awareness or the extra attention. But seated meditation is also a Qigong because you're retraining the central nervous system to get out that loop and that fight or flight um, situation that the nervous system is in. Okay, so again, reduce the sympathetic tone. Qigong improves proprioception, restores healthy muscle tone, rebuilds parasympathetic dominance in motion, and improves sensory motor integration. And this again here right here is powerful for trauma recovery. And like Tai Chi falls under that as well. Tai Chi is a martial art, but Tai Chi has Qigong or Daoyin within it. Bagua it's another internal art, 8 diagrams boxing. That's a martial art, considered an internal martial art or nature, internal martial art. But it has its Qigong and Daoyin in it because you have to build the energy as well. You have to, if you want to become a good martial artist, you can't be jacked up in the head with all these traumas, but then you're learning a martial art or not get rid of the trauma. If you just do like meditation and breathing, you're feeding the forces, for lack of better words. So the trauma is the forces, and you're feeding the forces. You don't want to feed the forces. You want to make yourself as clean as possible, like getting rid of the nafs, shaitan, dunya, and hawa. So it's like the same thing. Meditation is good for that as well, and also the zikrs. But stillness, there's always movement in stillness. So if you doing seated meditation, there's movement going on within the body, and there's also change and alchemy going on in the body as well. So it's not like you're just totally still. Heart function stops, breathing stops. No, there's an effort and concentrated awareness or extra attention in regards to breathing, meditation, qigong, or even doing your zikr. So I know I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but how many of you have, done zikrs and a thought will pop in your head, and as you're doing your zikrs, a few letters of the word or words that you've been thinking about that was in your head, that image popped into where you got to say astaghfirullah and not move the bead and redo that zikr again. So it's the same here. So extra attention and awareness. All right, so let me go up. Okay, the nervous system. So here we're bridging modern neuroscience with ancient wisdom, understanding communication, control, and integration. So we have the nervous system architecture that we're going to talk about. It's just an overview. It might be school review. It might trigger something out of your subconscious mind that you've learned years ago. So overview of the central and peripheral divisions, brain structure, and spinal cord functions. Then we have 2 autonomic regulation systems, understanding sympathetic, parasympathetic, and enteric nervous system functions and balance. Then we have 3 cellular components, exploring neurons and glial cells, these structures and functional roles in communication. And then we had jumped into that slide, holistic integration practices, meditation, qigong, Taoist breathing, also, Buddhist breathing, Hindu breathing, all tools to get to the same goal. So meditation, qigong, Taoist breathing, Hindu breathing, Buddhist breathing as nervous system training disciplines. All right. So the nervous system is the master communication network. So to the far left, we have the core definition. So this is the body's master communication, control, and integration network, enabling perception, response, homeostasis, consciousness, movement, emotion, memory, and survival. So that fight or flight, the homeostasis regulated by your master gland, your hypothalamus, your master gland in your brain. Okay. Next, we have the operating mechanism, functions through electrical impulses, action potentials, and chemical signals, which are neurotransmitters, transmitted through specialized neurons at incredible speeds, like the speed of light, even the speed of thought. If you could get your cells and things to fire at the speed of thought, that's even faster. But again, we're dealing with electricity, electrical impulses, dealing with light. From an esoteric standpoint, thought travels faster than light. So I would say getting your thoughts together and your extra attention and awareness in your disciplines is what's going to catapult you to your center, to source, but also have your nervous system operating at its fullest potential. So take, for example, the heart. The heart is regulated by an electrical signal. Because the SA node, then you also have the SV node. And the suit that we're in is bioelectric and spiritual and etheric and also physical. So we want to utilize exercises just to have this suit that we're in carry us to higher potentials in regards to our spiritual development. That's a must. So make use of your body or your suit, because that's what we use to train your bodies, your energy body, spirit body, astral body, depending on what discipline you're looking at, or you with Hindu, how they look at the bodies. Like there's like 5 different bodies. So you want to utilize this body, so you have to have it functioning well. You have to have your thoughts functioning well. You need your brain to function well. You need it in the right state of mind all the time. Like we talked about that, the loop and the triggers. We need to get rid of it. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, or the next column. Astaghfirullah. We have the support system. Glial cells protect, nourish, and insulate the neurons, ensuring optimal neural performance and system integrity. And then fourth column, we have universal meditation. Every thought, breath, heartbeat, sensation, and movement is mediated. Universal mediation. Not meditation. Universal mediation. Astaghfirullah. Every thought, breath, heartbeat, sensation, and movement is mediated by nervous system activity throughout life. So it's always going. So that's why when we go to sleep or quicken or recharge, we need that's the nervous system calming itself down and your bodily functions resetting itself. The blood is being filtered. The nervous system is being regulated or being healed, depending on what spiritual disciplines that you're doing. So now we're moving on to the next slide. All right, so the central nervous system, or CNS, is the command and processing center. So we have the brain, which is the body's most complex organ. It integrates sensory input, generates motor output, regulates autonomic functions, and supports cognition, emotion, and consciousness. Also, it houses billions of neurons processing information simultaneously. So your brain is sort of like a supercomputer as well, with like unlimited storage. So your subconscious is like the cloud. And then you also have the brain, which holds information as well. But it's good to teach and share information that is right and correct so you can make more room for storage. So whatever you learn in the past, it goes up into the cloud, the subconscious mind, because most of us, we live our lives through our subconscious mind. That's just through living life and programming. Because the conscious mind doesn't have discernment. I'm sorry, the conscious mind has discernment. Subconscious mind does not. So you could be told a lie and believe it to be true. And that goes into your subconscious mind. Just the way traumas could, your conscious mind picks it up, but then it stores in the subconscious mind, but it goes into that loop as well. Okay. Now, the spinal cord, that's the main transmission pathway. It conducts sensory information upward to the brain. It sends motor commands downward to muscles and glands and houses reflex arcs for rapid automatic responses. It's segmented into the cervical vertebrae, which is the neck, C1 through C7, thoracic, which is T1 to T12, and then you have the lumbar, which is L1 to L5, and then the sacral regions, which you have the SI joint, and you have the sacrum with the four foramen holes within the sacrum. So going back to, let's see, the glands. So with your glands, the chakra or the chakras are the main 7 chakras. You know, there's more than that in other systems. Well, yes, the 7 main chakras reside to where your glands are. And there's an old book going back to the 1920s. I have a copy somewhere on the glands in the chakra system and how they work with each other. So in the brain, you have pituitary gland, pineal gland, hypothalamus gland. Then you have chakras 7 and 6, brow and crown. Then you have 5, which is the throat, which is the thyroid and parathyroid. And then you have 4, which is the heart, where you have the thymus gland. And then you have 3, which is the solar plexus. So you have the pancreas and the liver. Some of the liver secretes bile, but you can kind of include the liver into it as well. And then you have the second chakra, which relates to the adrenals and the kidneys. And then the root or base chakra, you have the gonads, testicles, and then you have the ovaries. So working with healing the central nervous system or doing these esoteric practices to heal the nervous system, you heal the chakras, you heal the glands because they secrete hormones. Hormones, they regulate the body. Either one is already activated, there's one to come in right behind it to shut that off. And then this one is activated and another one comes in behind it, shuts that off. So that's how kind of like the hormones work, for lack of better terminology. And then there's also other hormones that work together as well. And moving on to the next slide. Okay, brain structure. We have 4 specialized functional regions. So we have the cerebrum, which is the largest part, 4 lobes per hemisphere, frontal, which controls voluntary movement, executive functions, speech, personality. Then we have the parietal. The parietal, some sensory perception, spatial awareness. So imagine, doing your meditations or your zikrs, how many times, have you like felt an energetic shift to where like your energy body picks up or your spirit body picks up that spatial awareness where you feel that shift, and then your physical body picks it up as well. So again, the nervous system and the blood demarcation points to your soul and spirit, the energy body. in spirit body, astral body. Okay, going to the temporal lobes, we have auditory processing, this is hearing, memory, emotion, language. Then we have the occipital, to the back of the brain, which is vision and visual interpretation. And then acupuncture, scalp acupuncture, you can also include balance. There's a balance area back there as well. Now we move on to the diencephalon, which is the relay center. So we have the thalamus directs sensory signals to cortical areas. Then we have the hypothalamus, regulates homeostasis. I touched on that earlier, homeostasis of the body. Okay. It also links nervous and endocrine systems. Again, endocrine systems and the chakras. Okay. It also controls the temperature of the body as well, which hovers right around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Also controls hunger and thirst. We're in Ramadan, so hunger and thirst. So then we have stress response as well, where you stress because you couldn't take a sip of water or grab a bite to eat until the sun appears to set. Then going back to meditation, that can all be regulated. Going back to your spiritual practices, your zikrs, working with the entities as well. That can hold you back from spiritual growth. Okay, the stress response, and then we have the circadian rhythms of the brain and the body. Okay, so for example, an example you can use if you live here in the East Coast, you take a flight to, say, Hawaii, which is like usually 6 hours behind. Your circadian rhythm is off because that 600-mile-per-hour flight throws you off. And then the time zone where you are kind of throws you off as well, with sun appearing to rise, sun appearing to set as well. Okay, and also the weather and temperature. So all those signals work together, dealing with the brain. And then next we move on to the brainstem. The brainstem, that's life support. So it's the midbrain and the pons and the medulla oblongata that controls vital functions, including heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, swallowing, and reflexes. The damage to that can be life-threatening. So again, going into meditation, as we touched on earlier, controlled breathing controls the nervous system. It helps the body and its system function at an optimal level. Again, going to blood pressure as well with health. It's been scientifically proven that, of course, adjusting your diet and working in meditation or different energy exercises, it's been scientifically proven that it helps to regulate and reduce those ailments. All right, so moving on to the last column, we have the cerebellum that controls coordination. So it controls balance, posture, movement, precision, motor learning. So like picking up coins, things like that, when people go through occupational therapy, some relearning after an injury or TBI, traumatic brain injury, there's motor learning, or even just developing as a baby to a toddler to a child, adolescent, adult. There's always motor learning going on, even if you decide to do like play, pickleball or kung fu. You're learning new movements. So Tai Chi, learning new movements, Qigong, new movements. So your body's always, so if you want to play an instrument, motor learning as well. So we also have timing. and rhythm. And then it fine-tunes movement and plays a role in cognitive and emotional regulation. Let me look at the chat for a second. All right. Pickleball. All right. Yeah, some of my patients I deal with, pickleball heads, pickleball, tennis, um, boating. Anyways, stop for a lot, digress. All right, so now, next slide. Peripheral nervous system connected to the CNS or central nervous system. So again, peripheral nervous system connecting the central nervous system to every body region. So structural components consist of 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Earlier we touched on the vagus nerve, which is the 10th nerve. Then we have 31 pairs of spinal nerves from C1, so 7 plus 12, 19, 19 plus 5, 21, 19 plus 5, 24. And then the ones from the coccyx. But then again, you have from L3, L4, L5, you have the sciatic nerve. So there's nerves in between there because you say you have 33 vertebrae. So 31 pairs of spinal nerves, which branch out to your organs and your limbs as well, or your extremities. Okay, so 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Then we have sensory receptors throughout the body and motor pathways connecting to muscles and organs. Okay, so just touch on that. So we have sensory division. So sensory division is also the afferent division. So that carries information from the body to the central nervous system, including touch, pain, temperature, proprioception, which is body position, vision, hearing, taste, and smell sensations. So when you're touching something, or if you like stub your toe, it's your brain that's picking up the pain. Yeah, your toe hurts and it's swelling, but it's the brain from that afferent current that's traveling from the body to the brain. Okay, then we have the motor division, which is efferent. So that carries the commands from the central nervous system to the body. So it branches into somatic system, which is voluntary skeletal muscle controlling, walking, or voluntary skeletal muscle control for walking and speaking, and autonomic system, involuntary organ regulation. And I know y'all feel like you're back in school, like what I get myself into. Thought we was gonna do some breathing or some kung fu or meditation or some sounds. No, this is good information to know. So when you know this, you'll have more drive and purpose to bring extra attention and awareness to your practices. So even if you don't want to meditate, which you should meditate, you bring it into your zikrs. It's the same thing. It's transformation and alchemy there with your zikrs. But imagine heightened, like after your zikrs, it's good to sit in silence since you sent that energy out into the ethers, into the air, into the different dimensions. It's good to wait for that feedback to come back because sometimes you can get downloads like afterwards as well, and you're more open to receiving downloads. You can comprehend them more as well. So after your zikrs, you just sit in silence. You'll feel the shift. You'll feel the shift. Silence is always good. That's why sometimes they say silence is gold, but silence with a purpose. Again, meditation. All right, so moving on to the next slide. We have the autonomic nervous system, which is a 3 integrated subsystems. So autonomic, we have the sympathetic, fight or flight. You've always heard that before. Increases heart rate and blood pressure, dilates the pupils and airways, mobilizes glucose and energy, suppresses digestion. It is activated during stress, danger, or intense activity, essential for survival responses. So sit on that for a minute. As we go back to traumas and stress and anxiety, depression, they go hand in hand. And then stress. So if you're always in fight or flight, your body is not working at its optimal level, which is going to hinder like your spiritual practices as well. It's going to hinder your spiritual practices as well. So that's why it's good to sit and have focus and extra attention and awareness on just like seated meditation is focusing on your breathing. Most people I know, or most people I treat, or some of my martial arts clients, they don't sleep because there's stress, and then there's like anxiety, depression, again, past traumas. So if something's out of the subconscious mind, say you have 100,000 doors, or just say you have 1,000 doors, different doors, or hallway of doors with different traumas, and some of them can be activated through different triggers, going back to that loop we talked about. So that fight or flight, and that also taxes your kidneys, Chinese medicine also taxes your adrenals. From once your kidneys go, from an energetic perspective, or talking about with like medical qigong or acupuncture, then you start taxing your adrenals. That's why a lot of people drink a lot of coffee, because the kidney energy is shot. Then the adrenals are shot, and then once you start running on the adrenals all the time, you're running on gas fumes. So you're on E. Your gas tank is on E, but of course, there's about 2-3 gallons left. So you're running on vapors, and you got like 20 miles to go. Then you fill up with some coffee, a little bit of octane. Okay, they got a quarter tank of gas, but you're not doing things to keep a full tank of gas. In relation to your system. So it's not a good thing to keep your body in fight or flight. Let's look at parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. So it slows the heart rate, enhances digestion and absorption, promotes tissue repair, supports relaxation and recovery. And it's dominant during rest, sleep, meditation, and healing states. And it's critical for restoration. And let's stay on this for a minute, because tissue repair and relaxation and recovery. So if your mind is always going and you're always in fight or flight, and you have to take, sleeping pills or drink chamomile tea every night, if it's, something mild, something's not right. And if something's not right, a lot of people eat late at night. You shouldn't eat too late at night. I know we're in Ramadan now, but even, where I am in Georgia, it's dark at around 10 after 7. So that's when you should eat, break your fast, and then just eat something light. And eat something in the morning, something light to tea, fruit, or a meal, because you're breaking your fast. That's what you get up and go to, to wake up after you wake up from sleep. They call it break fast. So you shouldn't be gobbling down, a bunch of eggs, cakes, last night's dinner. things like that. Just break your fast with some fruit or some juice, some water or a smoothie. Then slowly introduce different solid foods, um, 20, 30 minutes later before the sun rises, especially for Ramadan. So, yeah. Also with sleep, again, touching on eating late, it disturbs the liver's function of filtering the blood at night. So all of your blood needs to shunt to the liver so the liver can perform its tasks. In Western medicine and science, think it has over 600 functions to perform while you sleep. Cleaning the blood, filtering the blood. In Chinese medicine, it ensures a smooth flow of qi within the body. Where qi goes, blood follows. And blood is the mother of qi, prana, ki in Japanese. Okay, so that parasympathetic, very important as well. So sympathetic and parasympathetic. So meditation, parasympathetic and meditation will regulate the sympathetic. Now we have the enteric system, or the second brain. So the second brain is the gut. So it's embedded in the gastrointestinal tract. It controls digestion independently of the brain. It communicates bidirectionally with the central nervous system, and it is strongly linked to mood, immunity, and overall health through the gut-brain axis. So the gut is very important to have good gut health because, again, we're touching on our bodies or the suit that we're in. We need nourishment. And if you can't assimilate your food or your nourishment, your nutrition, then your second brain is not going to work right. And just your body in itself is not going to work right either. Because whatever you eat helps produce blood cells. And also what you drink too, water, and also breathing kind of helps stimulate that as well. But for the most part, just look at food and assimilating the food. So if you have leaky gut, undigested food in your stool, that's more of a spleen issue, or sometimes liver overacting on the spleen. And sometimes you can have issues with large intestines from a Chinese medicine perspective, with heat in the large intestine, dryness in the large intestine, even in the small intestine as well. That's where most of your absorption takes place, so your body can produce mature blood cells. And talking about blood cells, they make up your skin. They make up the skin underneath your skin, the epidermis, the fascia, the muscles, the connective tissue, your bones, your nails, your hair, your organs, and organ systems. So you have to be mindful of what you put in your body also in regards to food, because we want everything working together as one band, one sound. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. All right, so we have sympathetic versus parasympathetic. It's dynamic balance, not opposition. So we have a chronic imbalance consequences. We have most people live in chronic low-grade fight or flight state, shallow breathing, like breathing like a dog that just ran because you don't have sweat glands. So tight muscles, racing thoughts, digestive issues, poor sleep quality, and low emotional resilience. This creates long-term health problems. So let's touch on like the shallow breathing. Not good at all, because you want your cells to be oxygenated. So when that deoxygenated blood returns to the lungs, coming back to from the heart, you want to have the blood to be oxygenated to its fullest capacity. And even though the air that we breathe is like 78% nitrogen, about what 20% oxygen and other trace minerals. So if oxygen is that minimal within the air, we have to take that time to properly breathe to assimilate that oxygen that the cells need. And that's what the mitochondria needs, which is the powerhouse and brain for each cell. We have trillions of cells within our body. But then again, we can look at it from an esoteric perspective with air. If it's 78% nitrogen and like what 20% oxygen and the other trace elements, I mean, what are we really breathing? What are we really functioning on? They always say oxygen, 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 oxygen. So a person needs oxygen, that's the cells, but nitrogen. So your body is making a distinction and taking oxygen as precedence over the nitrogen composition of the air and other trace minerals. So again, tight muscles, racing thoughts while you're trying to go to sleep. Thoughts always racing, or sometimes the thoughts can race throughout the day to where just can't shut off. And then going back again, digestive issues, gut health, poor sleep quality. Let's talk about that. The brain. It is said that we need 8 hours of sleep for the body to function properly. And within the 8 hours, let's use 8 hours as like a gauge. Within the 8 hours, the brain needs at least 4 to 6 cycles of delta sleep. That's when the body really repairs itself, delta sleep. So the delta sleep, the brain goes into that mode for 30 minutes at a time. So using the guide as we talk about 8 hours of sleep, and you need 4 to 6 cycles. So just say 6 cycles. So 6 cycles, multiply that by 30 minutes, you have 3 hours of delta sleep. So your brain needs delta sleep, or I'm saying the average person needs delta sleep. If you're doing energy exercises, meditation, zikrs as well, the alchemy is there. So you won't need as much sleep, but your brain will still need a few cycles of delta sleep so it can repair itself. The body's not repairing itself most of the time as you're moving about, going about your day. So a person who works out, they get the soreness after a day or two. Then after the third day or so, when they go to sleep, proper sleep, proper nourishment, that soreness starts to go away as the muscles start to repair itself, and it repairs itself at its highest or at its zenith while it's at rest or at sleep. Okay. Again, in low emotional resilience. And again, this creates long-term health problems. Okay. Next, we have healthy state characteristics. Optimal balance creates calm alertness, relaxed focus, efficient energy use, faster stress recovery, and reduced emotional overaction. The body operates in a sustainable, healing-oriented state. Then we have neuroplasticity and training. The nervous system is plastic and can be retrained to shift from chronic sympathetic activation toward parasympathetic dominance through consistent practice of specific techniques like meditation, breath work, and mindful movement. So here is the science to back it up. So let's see how many slides I have left. Okay. All right, so we read through here. Neurons and glial cells. Neurons are specialized transmission cells. Structure includes dendrites, which receive signals, a cell body, which processes information, axon, which transmits signals over long distances, and the synapse, which is the communication junction. Okay. They function via electrical impulses called action potentials and chemical signals called neurotransmitters crossing synaptic gaps. And going back to diet, it's good to try to eat as much electric foods as possible, or raw foods, like an orange, apples, pears, whatever's in season, which is good, and watermelons that is seeded, because vegetables as well, because that is the food, that's electric food that the body needs to operate on a high functioning level. Yeah, you can dip and dab. You have your mac and cheese, your oxtails, fried chicken, catfish, rice, but gotta balance it out. With a lot of raw fruits, your roughage, vegetables, or even steamed vegetables, um, those smoothies, frozen berries, freshly frozen berries, things like that. You got to balance it out, but you need more electric foods in your body than you do other foods, because most of the foods out there, they cause inflammation, and they also stir the thoughts as well, because what they have out there that they're calling food, is it really food? Anyways, and that's another subject, but just be mindful what you eat. You need mainly electrical foods in your body, since your body's magnetic, it's electric. And the cells, your blood cells, touching on that again, composed of light, heat, sound, electricity, and magnetism. Those 5 components proven by science. Light, heat, sound, electricity, magnetism. And in meditation, you can talk to all trillions of your cells. Each of them have a mitochondria. And you can talk to your organ systems, because they're made up of cells. And that comes through meditation and also training the mind. I remember taping this episode off of PBS like 25, maybe 30 years ago. Healing in the Mind with Bill Moyers. That was on VHS. I taped it on VHS, and I had burned it on to a DVD like years later, back in like 2002, 2003, when they started making DVD recorders. But they had this one young lady she was a tennis player, a teenager. She had a brain tumor, and she wanted to go about, and the parents agreed with her to heal the tumor in a natural way. So they taught her how to meditate. And then they hooked up the electrodes, the pads, to monitor her brain waves, the EEG, to monitor her brain waves. And they were monitoring her brain waves. And over like the next few weeks after meditating daily, she shrank the tumor till it went away. I think the DVD is somewhere around here. It's packed away, and it shows you the power of the mind. Anyway, let's go to the next column here. So glial cells, it's the support network. Functions include myelination to speed signal transmissions, immune defense against pathogens, structural support for neural architecture and neurotransmitter regulation. The glial cells protect, nourish, and insulate neurons for optimal performance. And they outnumber neurons in the brain. All right, check the chat again. Okay. All right, next slide. So the 8 core functions of the nervous system. So this is kind of like a review of what we went through these last few slides. So we have 1, sensory perception, processing internal and external stimuli from the environment. 2, motor coordination, controlling voluntary and involuntary movement and posture. 3, autonomic regulation. It's managing involuntary organ functions like heartbeat and digestion. 4, emotional processing, generating, experiencing, and regulating feelings and moods. 5, memory and learning, encoding, storing, and retrieving information and experiences. 6, consciousness and awareness, supporting subjective experience and self-awareness. 7, stress response and recovery, adapting to challenges and returning to baseline. And 8, environmental adaptation, adjusting physiology and behavior to changing conditions. And that's important as well. All right, and this is the slide that we started off on. Okay. So I'm not going to read it again. And here, so we have ancient wisdom meets modern neuroscience. So we'll look at the Taoist concept and its neuroscience equivalent in the next column. So we have chi flow. Same applies to prana flow, or shekem in ancient Kemet, or ki in Japanese. We have neural signaling efficiency, because I mentioned before, where chi goes, blood follows. The blood is the mother of chi. So blood is the mother of chi. You need to assimilate your food. That's where digestion comes in. It's important. Then we have a Taoist concept of calming Shen. Shen is a spirit. So that reduced limbic reactivity, the limbic system. Then we have the Taoist concept of rooting and grounding. So like horse stance, or having a moving root in your Kung Fu forms, or just Taoist posture, standing next to a tree, or grounding, very important. Or if you're just standing in your Wuji posture, so like your basic posture, feet are shoulder width apart, and your stance is proper. You know, there's 18 rules that I learned, 18 rules of Taoist posture. But to make it short, you know, you have feet rooted to the floor, the knees are soft, bent. You have 2 tucks, tucking your butt under and forward, and you also kind of tuck the chin in as well, slightly. Then you have 2 pushes, your lower back, where your kidneys are, called the Ming Men or Gate of Life, and then the top of your head, which is a crown. It's like it's pushing up, suspending a ceiling. So you have those 2 tucks, 2 pushes. And then you also have you sink in the chest, which kind of rounds the back, like a turtleback somewhat. Then you're also standing straight. And then the shoulders are relaxed. The shoulders are relaxed. The energy can flow through the shoulders. Elbows stay relaxed. And the fingers stay relaxed. The tip of the tongue to the roof of your mouth. That's like the basics of the 18 rules. So the 18 rules divided up into, or like condensed into like 6 rules. It's very important to learn how to stand. A lot of people learn Qigong or internal martial arts, but are not told or taught how to properly stand in regards to certain rules. You don't just stand and relax, no, because you have to figure out like what the traumas are. Are there any injuries? Is there something we need to do to work through old injuries? or from overcompensation. One hip is hiked up higher than the other, things like that. But to keep all of that into perspective, so those things need to be corrected and worked on as you move your body into the proper rules of posture, and eventually the body um, will shift into those rules and the rules of the postures according to the rules, I should say. And that's where you have like optimal chi flow and energy flow. But even sitting meditation, sitting with your back straight, even if you're sitting in the chair, back straight, hips are always higher than your knees, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap, so you can hold one of a few mudras. And the same thing if you're sitting on the floor and sitting in like full lotus, half lotus, or just cross-legged. That back needs to be straight. So that also applies to rooting and grounding from being seated. So with that, we have stabilized proprioceptive input. And then we have lower dantian breathing. So the lower dantian is located just below the navel and 3 Chinese inches in. So that is the storehouse for your chi or ki or prana or your energy. The kidneys manufacture the chi according to Chinese medicine, medical qigong, and Taoist concepts. So the kidneys manufacture the chi, and the storehouse is your lower dantian. So yeah, they'll just leave it. Then you have the middle dantian, which is the heart, and then you have the upper dantian, which is the brow. So you have 3 dantians, and from a Taoist perspective, and also Chinese Buddhism in regards to their concepts of the internal arts. So with lower dantian breathing, the neuroscience equivalent, we have vagal stimulation and diaphragmatic breathing. Again, we talked about the vagus nerve, that vagal stimulation. And the diaphragmatic breathing is just using the full capacity of your lungs to take in the breath. And at the same time, the chest does not expand as you take in the breath. Your lower dantian, or your belly where the navel is, expands out. There's a conscious awareness to it where you don't expand out to where you're forcefully stretching. So as you inhale, you expand out, and your entire lower dantian, even to the sides and the back, you can imagine there's a basketball or a volleyball sitting at the base of your perineum and rolling up to your dantian and back around to your kidneys and back down to your perineum again. So as you inhale and this is more of like an intermediate stage, you want to expand 360 degrees. So with the expansion of 360 degrees, and you equate that to the diaphragmatic breathing, you're exercising all of your vital organs. So they get exercise. That's how we exercise, or that's how you exercise your organs. You're not going to exercise your organs really like running. You may jar them out of place. But with deep breathing, you exercise the organs. So as you inhale, all 3 lobes of your lungs takes in as much oxygen it needs. So it gives the cells the maximum amount of oxygen it needs to go to where it needs to go to in the body to make everything run efficiently. So you're oxygenating the cells. You oxygenate the cells, you have oxygenated blood moving to the brain. So imagine, panting like a dog, that shallow breathing. That contributes to the trauma in the subconscious mind, or in the thoughts. And outside of that, the brain is not functioning the way it needs to. So you'll have like feeling like foggy headed, heavy headed, don't want to do anything. You just want to lay down, or you can't get up in the morning. You always want to lay down during the day. You can't get that second wind. So that breathing is important. Again, as you breathe in, we take in, oxygenate the lungs, the diaphragm pushes down. When it's pushing down on the liver, the gallbladder, pancreas, the stomach, the spleen, the intestines, and even down to the bladder, which sort of kind of like activates the reproductive system as well, because you have that ball there. So that ball there, even though it's not tangible from a physical perspective, but from an energetic perspective, it is tangible and you can feel it. It's the heat and the awareness. So the heat is there. And you can feel the heat as well. And if someone put their hand on your stomach, they can feel the heat as well. So there is, yes, a tangible element to it. And then as you exhale, as the diaphragm comes back up, that's where it's exercising the heart and the lungs. So I'm pretty sure with the optimal diet, you have proper breathing, you can burn off visceral fat along with, just regular exercise as well. Okay. Now, let me check the chat. Yeah. Aisha Salam, yeah, the kidneys. Kidneys get exercise too when with the diaphragmatic breathing. Right. So we have moving down the Taoist concept of cultivating Jing. Jing is like your essence. In Western medicine, it kind of equates to the 23 chromosomes you get from your parents, each of your parents. And that makes up your constitution. So if you had party hardy and parents and you were conceived when they were party hardy and popping stuff and things like that, your constitution, the constitution of that child when it's born is going to be weak. It's always going to be susceptible to something. Or even if one parent was like, into certain things, that's still compromising the fetus. And then as a child is born, it's compromised. So Jing is like the sexual essence as well. So you have Jing, you have Qi and Shen. And according to the Taoist concept, you want to cultivate your sexual energy, especially men. That's why it's not good to be ejaculating all the time. It should be recycled. I know there's talk on the internet like the last, decade about semen retention. And there's other reports. Yeah, too much semen retention. You can get prostate issues. You can get this. They're both are right, but the thing is cultivating that gene. That's where the meditation comes in, or the breath work comes in, because it's automatically going to convert that gene into chi, which is your energy. And with that chi, when it's converted, that's going to revitalize the body, your energy body, spirit body, astral body, physical body. And then from that chi, you want to convert that into spirit or shen, as we see in the second line here, calming shen. You want to cultivate that into shen. From shen, cultivate that to the void, chi. So with cultivating the essence or jing, it restores nervous system reserves. Okay. And then the Taoist concept of opening the meridians, or even just an acupuncture treatment, or qigong, or if I'm doing like a medical qigong or Chinese energetic medicine treatment, always give prescription homework. Always give them homework. Have them participate in their own in their healing till they don't need me. Do the exercise, do the work. And that's according to the diagnosis. Okay, so opening the meridians, we have reduced neuromuscular guarding. Right, so we have different maps, same terrain, traditional practices, and modern science describe identical physiological processes. So, like for example, and also with touching on like the Taoist concept, even like the Buddhist concept, and like the Hindu concepts, or for example, like with Tibetan Buddhism, when you're like first learning certain techniques on clearing your channels. So your central channel. So you have in the middle, you have the blue channel, and that's through nostril breathing. To the left, you have the red channel, and to the right, you have the white channel. So there's like different breathing exercises you can do. It's cleaning the core channels. So one that I studied is the 3 breath channel purification, doing that for years. Because it's a fundamental. It's always good to stick with your fundamentals as well. Then there's also one that I learned called the 9 breath channel purification. This was back in like 2022. And then even before that in 2000, no, 19, no, hold on. Yeah, long time ago, mid 80s. So these are, core concepts of clearing the channels and the central channel. And that's from a Buddhist perspective. Again, they have different exercises to catapult the bodies to the same goal regarding cultivation. And also touching on, let's see, other perspectives in regards to the breathing and breathing in a stressful manner. That's like no good. So, and going back to the lungs again with breathing. So if you're not breathing properly, you're definitely not expelling the carbon dioxide, the old carbon dioxide out of the lungs. So the gas exchange of fresh oxygen for carbon dioxide in the lungs that's compromised. It's very unhealthy. That also leads the body to being in an acidic state. So imagine eating or consuming foods that are very acidic, and then you're not breathing properly. All that stuff compounds to where health issues commences regarding the body, and it could be psychological, physical, and spiritual as well. Okay. What else I want to touch on? Maybe one breathing exercise. Breathing exercise in imagery. So as we like touched on the in Taoist training, you have imagery at times from an advanced perspective or even an intermediate perspective. But let's go back to like Tibetan Buddhism, going back with the channels. So with that channels, it takes concentration as well. It helps you to work on your concentration to focus on those channels as you're doing the nostril breathing, as you're using the thumb to block off the left nostril, the right nostril, so you can take an air in the left nostril, which is going to work the left channel. So that left channel is red. And you're blocking off the left nostril to the right channel. Then you're working with the white on the right. Then as you keep both nostrils open, as you breathe in, working with the blue channel. And then after a series of breaths, you can work on all 3 channels. So that's going to take concentration. Okay, was the left, the right? Was the left the red, or was it the white? So that that's one level of concentration and visualization. I remember Grand Sheikh Shamel earlier this week talked about concentration. I think it was earlier this week. Was it late last week? Time is going by so fast. Yeah, I think it was early this week, probably like Monday or Tuesday. with concentration. So, and that takes, again, extra attention and awareness. So as you sit and meditate, extra attention and awareness is there. So if you always have a racing mind, you can just focus on the breath. So one inhalation, one exhalation counts as one breath. So, okay, so here's an exercise. You can write it down. Or this is recorded anyway. So in order to try and harness, if it's hard to harness the mind and calm the mind, if you have an occasional thought coming in, it's easier to train the mind to stop the thoughts from coming in. Or if it's hard, pass through like clouds, but less and less. But if you can't sit and focus on the breath to train the mind, because they work together as well. So to train the mind to keep it from ruminating or have that monkey mind bouncing all over the place, you're here now at, whatever time zone you're in, 5 minutes to 9, 5 minutes to 8, wherever you are, 5 minutes to 6. Or if you're overseas, you're 5, 6 hours ahead. So that monkey mind is always balancing. So when you sit to tame the mind and train the mind and the breath and concentration simultaneously, you want to count your breaths, and you should try to get to 10 breaths without a thought entering your mind. It may take you a couple of days, it may take you a couple of weeks, it may take you a couple of months, it may take you several months, it may take you a year, a few years. And then in the beginning, you don't want to do this exercise no longer than like 3 to 5 minutes, because you don't want frustration to set in, because it's something new. So even like when I'm like teaching martial arts, or like the Tai Chi movements, or Bagua, or Xingyi, or basic Qigong, basic forms, and person has never done any type of training, or even if they did some type of training, they can't get the movements right, or the stepping is not right. So you have, the first day, they get frustrated. So if they're getting frustrated with that, imagine other things in life that they tried just one time, but never put the effort in to trying to accomplish a task that they were interested in. So with the breathing, it's the same thing. You work like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes on trying to count 10 breaths. So inhale, then exhale. That's one breath. Also, while keeping that diaphragmatic breathing as well. And inhale, then exhale. That's 2 breaths. So that's 2. So you're just focusing on the exhale. Once you complete the exhale, okay, that's 1. No thought came in. 2, okay. Second breath, no thought comes in. And just before you do the third breath, I gotta pay the gas bill. Something pops up, or something pops up in your mind. Just let it go, and you start back over at 1. And there are times where you won't get back to 3 breaths. You may get to 1 or 2 breaths, but you just keep trying and not let it discourage you, because, all right, so when babies are born, they're born utilizing diaphragmatic breathing, the breathing with the belly, or belly breathing, or embryonic breathing, what you want to call it. And the reason why they breathe that way is because when the fetus is in the womb, the mother doesn't have any type of mechanism or pumping mechanism or an extraction mechanism to pump food, or nourishment, I should say, to the fetus, nor extract its waste. That's all the movement of the fetus's belly, pulling in the nutrition, or the nourishment, and also expelling out the waste to the mother. So when the baby's born, it breathes that way until it adapts to society. Then it starts to breathe with the chest, adapting to society, daycare, school, peers, friends, bullies, parents, siblings, teachers, traumatic accidents. Everything changes to breathing with the chest, which creates anxiety as well. People have anxiety that rises up the front, heart palpitations all the time, panic attacks. And then for most people, when the energy rises up the back, is more so the trapezius, upper back, the neck, the back of the head, occipital area, wraps around, tension headaches, temporal headaches, down to the face, TMJ, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let me move to the next slide. We're almost done. About to land the plane. So there's one other thing I had in mind. So we touched on the imagery in the brain. So like I mentioned earlier, imagination leads the mind leads to chi. You bring about what you think about. That's what I learned from my medical qigong instructor, Bagua instructor, a long time ago. It is true. And I want to read something out of this book called Meditation Works in the Hindu, Buddhist, and Taoist traditions by Livia Cohn. So for educational purposes only. So just to touch on like imagery in the brain, I just want to, let's see. Okay, it says on page 130. It says imagery creates a more immediate experience of the situation, memory, or vision than the more distant experience conveyed by verbal communication or abstract thinking. Activated in dream states, imagery is located dominantly in the right brain hemisphere. So that's more the spiritual side of the brain, the creative side. Okay, so the right brain hemisphere, and thus connected, to myth, poetry, chanting, but also spirituality as well. So in ancient Egypt, when you look at some of the statues that have the spear, and their left foot is first, and that's from the right brain. The spiritual, you step in with spirit first. All right, and then let's see. Okay, as it bypasses the left brain, which is the conscious and abstract mode, it is a primary method for accessing the subconscious mind. So that right there, that paragraph, just so you can rewire your subconscious mind. Remember, it doesn't have a filter or a filtering mechanism to discern what is right or wrong. But it also comes through wisdom, knowledge, and experience as well. Because you have people out here who believe in untruths, and then they find out the untruths and still live the untruths. Anyway, I think somebody had their hand up. Let's see. Did somebody had their hand up? I guess not. Okay. Okay, brother Noble Cyrus L. Stop.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Bismillah.
Hey, Bismillah, brother Darrah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Jerejef for these teachings. Like, mashallah. Like, alhamdulillah. Every time Dr. Ahmad, mashallah, whenever you come in, like, you bring a different perspective of my view about like the chi and how like we should approach like breathing and what you just mentioned. Like I just wanted to say that like you said uh, correct me if I'm wrong. You said that light eats sound, and I wanted to ask, is that the reason why we zikr astaghfirullah?
Is that the reason why?
We practice zikr? since light, it's sound, you know.
Yeah, light, heat, not eat, but light. So I was
Okay.
talking about the components of each blood cell in your body. It consists of light,
Mm-hmm.
heat,
Mm-hmm.
sound, electricity, and magnetism.
Okay.
And all five of those components, or even you can use one of those components to strengthen the cells. So here we go. Let's talk about sound. Dicker. This dicker changes
Okay.
the cells.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Did
Yeah.
I answer? Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
dicker. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Also, what you just mentioned about the left foot on the pharaoh, like, would you mind expounding a little bit on that? On the
Now, from what I read from us, it showed that even like the warriors, or even like if you've ever seen like a little statue of like Jehudi, or one of them stepping first with the left foot, that's connected to the right brain, which is like the spiritual side, the creative side, the metaphysical side of the two hemispheres of the brain. So it's the right brain. The left brain is more analytical, solving math problems, things like that. But yeah, there should be balance. But then again, your spiritual right is, if your spiritual life is right, um, the physical life is a breeze. Remember, we just occupying a suit, a sleeve, like that show Altered Carbon. You're really in a sleeve because you have, your essence that is in here, the essence of Allah with soul and spirit, and then your subtle bodies, depending on what metaphysical science you study or how you look at it. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Dr. Ahmad. I'm appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, Brother Noble Cyrus. Oh, yeah, meditation, hypnotism, and spiritual alignment meets science. Yeah, it's science. They're catching up. So you got Harvard. They published a Tai Chi book. I think it's back in 2017. And a few of my colleagues were going out there from California. They were going out there, quarterly for about a year or so, exchanging information, things like that. But we already know this, but certain minds want to try to put things to the test, but certain things you can't put to the test with science. It's just like with certain languages, like Spanish, Wolof, Arabic, Hebrew, Portuguese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Russian. There's certain words in those languages that you can't translate to the English language. You have to live the culture to know it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, brother, Noble Cyrus. Yeah, meditation, hypnotism, and spiritual alignment meets science. Yeah, so with hypnotism, I'm I'm all for like auto suggestion and hypnotizing the self, which is good. I like auto suggestion, which is nothing but like affirmations as well. But meditation helps one to tap in. It's definitely. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, yeah. There's a long-term effects of regular practice. So we have the immediate short-term effects. Direct vagal nerve stimulation occurs within minutes once you get into that zone. There's some meditations I would study to where you could instantaneously get into like alpha mode to hypnotize yourself and create the auto suggestions. I do the same thing with the zikrs, if it's like a short zikr, or if I'm doing any zikrs of like the 99 names. So I kind of get a little bit more deep into the esoteric side of Sufism. So I'll just share this. So since I was incarnated here on a Tuesday, Tuesday is Mars Day. So with Mars, there are 9 names out of the 99 names of Allah that I would dhikr. I'll do it like from my studies, not 90 times, 900 times, or 9,000 times. That's just me personally, because I'm a overachiever for spiritual development, not just a regular overachiever. All right, so I digress. Anyway, so immediate short-term effect. Immediate short-term effect. So direct vagal nerve stimulation occurs within minutes. That's where I left off at. Okay, so yeah, you can hypnotize yourself or go into auto-suggestion alpha mode within minutes or even seconds. Okay, reduced sympathetic output creates calm. Activated parasympathetic repair mode initiates healing. So even sitting in meditation, you can heal yourself, besides sleep. Because you can heal the body through either alpha mode, the brain being in alpha mode, which is like meditation, or even zikrs, or sleep, when your brain goes into delta sleep, when it has to go through those 4 to 6 cycles each night. And also depending on your training as well, because some of us may need the 3 hours of delta, some may need less. Okay. All right. Safety signal transmitted to the nervous system reduces threat perception and cortisol levels. So cortisol levels for men, cortisol kills testosterone, and women too. Okay, so try not to participate in things that will raise the cortisol level. You have to try to control the cortisol level. So, like if you're to exercise, you like to stay on that treadmill, and if you're over 40, especially men, want to stay on that treadmill for like an hour, 2 hours, you're killing your testosterone. High interval intensity trainings are better, where you have bursts of cardio, and then some type of strength training like push-ups, sit-ups, planks, things like that. You mix it up. All right. So structural long-term changes with consistent practice over weeks and months. So remember, this is a long walk on a short path. All right. So with consistent practice over weeks and months, rewired stress reflexes, improved emotional stability, lower baseline anxiety, enhanced sleep and digestion quality, increased energy without stimulation, improved immune regulation, and greater resilience to chaos and uncertainty. Meaning you're always calm, cool, and collected, as I used to say back in the days. Okay. Next, we have evidence-based validation. Okay, brain imaging studies from Harvard Medical School and UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, show physical alterations in neural networks involved in fear regulation, attention control, and emotional processing. The nervous system becomes trained for calm under pressure, not just during practice sessions. So that nervous system is like the proving grounds. The energy exercises that you do, that's the proving grounds. Or the battlefield, the trenches. So, and everything comes with a price. So meditation, dhikrs, is as time, but you got to enjoy the transformation, extra attention and awareness into how you're transforming yourself, the alchemy. It takes time. But everything comes with a price. Everything. So it was like last Sunday's class, something with transformation, you're transforming something gives, something comes with a price. especially like any spiritual path that you're deep into your training, something goes or some things goes, but then new things come. All right, that's it. So thank you. So your nervous system is trainable, but every breath and moment of awareness is an opportunity to shift from surviving or survival to thriving. All right. Let's see. Okay, the impact on silent zikr. I'm in the chat. Says Serena. So silent zikr is just as good. I think early in the lecture I talked about audible, inaudible, and subaudible. So the subaudible will be like silent zikr. No, our Sheikh Sufi had somebody had mentioned a question about the silent zikr, and he said is just as powerful, even more powerful than speaking the zikr out, because anyone with silent zikr, that's more extra attention and awareness as you're doing the silent zikr. You have to have more attention and awareness. So with that silent zikr, it's already in the thoughts. So yeah, that's fine if you're unable to do the zikr out loud. But here's the science behind this, the audible, inaudible, subaudible. So with the silent zikr or even silent affirmations or chants, the speed of thought travels faster than the speed of light. It definitely travels faster than the speed of sound, which is like over a little over 900 miles an hour. Then you have the speed of light. If you're looking at feet, 186,272. No, in miles per second. But thoughts travels faster than that. So with the zikr, you're still doing the transformation, and there's more attention to extra attention and awareness during the silent zikr. Put more extra attention and awareness the next time you do your silent zikr. And you'll still feel the transformation. And sometimes it's more profound than saying the zikr out loud. So with the audible, inaudible, subaudible, I had learned from Taoist mystical teachings from one of my teachers. So subaudible was like, he always mentioned that subaudible is the most powerful because you're also, incorporating the mind along with that extra attention and awareness. So you're kind of stepping outside of yourself and observing yourself. So I know, like, for example, when I studied Raja Yoga back in the days with like the mind and which is mental development, it talks about the eye. The eye is what watches everything, your ego, your mind, your thoughts, and everything like that. So extra attention and awareness. So if you can't do it, if you can't say it out loud, don't look at it as laziness. If you can't do it out loud, you may, if you can't do it out loud all the time, that's fine. But if you get the opportunity to do so, do it. And just make a comparison and contrast between saying your zikrs out loud and subaudible. That's no sound. But then you could whisper it too, which is kind of like inaudible. So like, that's still in your personal space. Okay, all right. So even if you start off loud, I end up into silent. That's fine. Extra attention and awareness. Pay attention to the shift. Don't look at it as being lazy. All right, let me stop sharing the screen. And close this up. All right, and mugshot. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Brother Noble Cyrus up. No, Brother Noble Cyrus, I see your hand is up. Yes.
Peace, peace, bismillah.
Peace, brother.
Not really a question, but what I wanted to say is I highly, highly, highly appreciate the materials of your discourse tonight. It is absolutely bananas that everything you spoke of is the stuff I learned in school. I go to Behavioral Science Institute, aka Hypnosis Motivation Institute, and everything you expounded on is stuff I learned. So I'm just so humbly grateful to hear this on the outside of that schooling and to still hold and know the similarities and the practices that we do with our meditations, with our prayers, being familiar with oneself, and just diving into the practices, because it's such a wonderful thing. So many evidences, so proven of how this helps, especially speaking on the firing and wiring, like the reset of the mind and the neurons, like to change our thoughts and our behaviors, to change into a new way, into a new path, and become a one with self, starting with breath and awareness. I just loved everything tonight. It's so wonderful to hear. So that was all. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you. Really not. Does anyone else have any questions? Actually, yeah. So before I jump to the next person that has a question, yeah. So yeah, like science is like it's kind of catching up. Remember, I'm treating like veterans here in Atlanta at the clinic, and I would give them Tai Chi exercises and certain meditations to help with underlying conditions like PTSD. They sent them over to the clinic for pain. And I was trying to get something started a while back with one of the satellite clinics. So then years later, they were like, oh, there's Tai Chi and all this other stuff. We're going to incorporate it here at the VA. We're going to do this and do that. So anyways, so now they're incorporating it. Mindfulness. That's just extra attention and awareness that we should be doing in our spiritual practices anyway.
Yes.
These spiritual practices are light years ahead of modern science catching up to ancient science, because it's a technology. All these practices, Hindu practices, yoga is not just tying yourself into a knot. There's a mental aspect to it. There's philosophical aspect to it to apply certain exercise. See, with mystical Taoism, the same thing. You have religious Taoism, but you got the mystical Taoism. I'm on the mystical side, even though I do some little practices. And they got Sufism, which is the mystical side of Islam. You have Gnosticism, which is the mystical side of Christianity. And then you have Kabbalah, mystical side of Judaism. These are all technologies. Because the body's technology, mental, physical, spiritual is technology. And these internal arts and these other modalities that we can use or utilize it for the alchemy, it's a technology. Certainly, a lot of traditions, ancient, indigenous American technology, hoodoo's a technology, voodoo's technology, Ifa's technology. Some of the Malaysian people I know from Malaysia and Singapore into this stuff too. They're spiritual science. This is technology. All the technology. So this ain't a kung fu movies. Pick your poison, but a good poison though. It's just pick your alchemy. Yeah, Dr. Joey Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. I got this little book on one of my shelves here. Yeah, it's a pretty good book. Becoming Supernatural. Some of the stuff in my library. Richard Anaglis, another good book on just the mind, just a chapter with the mind. This is on History and Power of the Mind. So if you get volume 1, powerful book. I know we have a lot of things and exercises to do, so I don't want to like overload anyone with anything else. Are you welcome, brother? Yeah, so what I was going to say. Yeah, just stick to what you know and stick to what you do. And you can, study a few things at one time, just be a master of 3 things, but not a jack of all trades. But it's still good to pull because, matter of fact, it's all tied in. It's all tied in together. All tied in together. Also, Brother Cyrus, Osiris, another book to get if you can find it. Universal Magnetism by Edmund Shaftesbury, 1928. I have the Kessinger reprint. I don't think I have. I think I might have it on another bookshelf. But that's a good book to get in regards to like the mind, hypnotism, things like that. Maybe I can introduce that another time. Edmund, Edmund Shaftesbury, Shaftesbury, Edmund Shaftesbury. Yeah, Edmund. All right, let's see. Okay, so Serena, yeah, just take your time on learning how to meditate. Who you can learn with. You just start with the breath first. Start with the breath. I don't know where you're located, but I don't know, maybe I don't know. I'm trying to see it because all of the like classes, daily classes, like even classes are full. But if not,
I'm in Australia.
Oh, Australia, so you're like 13, 12 hours ahead.
16 hours.
16,
15, 16 hours.
15 hours, yeah, that's across the world. Let's see. Good meditation book. Oh, a good book that was written in the 60s. Moni Sadhu. Meditation. And he also has a book on concentration. I have first edition copies. I think they were written in like the 60s. Hold on one second. I don't want to take up too much time, but here's Moni Sadhu. This is a book on concentration. I do have the one on meditation. Hold on, let me turn off that background. Okay. All right. So yeah. So concentration, Moni cited. So he also has one on meditation. Very good basic books on mental mastery. I don't know what the meditation
Sorry,
book is.
how do you spell his name?
M as in Mary, O as in Oscar, U as in umbrella, N as in Nancy, I as in ice. That's Moni.
Moni. Yeah, okay.
The last name is Sadhu. S as in Sam, A as in Alpha, D as in Delta, H as in Harry, U as in umbrella.
Thank you.
Yo, so if you could get both, it's concentration. He has another one on meditation. Those are
Okay.
excellent books.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Published. So I have the reprint from, and it's been kept pristine since 1959. I thought it was the 60s, 1959. So I have tons of old books. So I'm a bookaholic. Thousands of books. I've read thousands of books. Trained. So, okay. All right. You're welcome. All right. All right. So does anyone else have any questions, concerns?
Yeah, Bismillah, Bismillah.
Bismillah, brother Damascus.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got a couple of questions.
Uh-huh.
Number one, you being a master of movement, have you, maybe you talked about this before and I wasn't here, but have you studied, contemplated the positions of Salat and what effect they have in terms of increasing our levels, just on the nervous system itself, but maybe like spiritual psycho centers as well too? Because I asked that question because when I make Salat, of course, being a Sajud is beautiful within itself, but I found myself staying in Ruku a little bit longer these days, as if it's opening up something, being in that particular position. So I'm asking, like, yeah, do have you ever studied that? Is there some esoteric aspect to these positions that that I myself or others may not be aware of that you have,
Yeah, from my studies, yes. There's a book. I have thousands. I have books packed away. I have books on revolving shelves. But there's a book on Salat and how those postures are like yoga postures. But then again, there's another book I have. There's two books. One I have that's old, and one is by Dr. Muata Ashby on the Kemetic poses. Some of the Salat poses come from ancient Kemet. And I know one is from Ashby on his yoga, Muata Ashby. And there's another book I have on the postures of Salat. I think I bought that back in like the 90s. I have to search and try to find the titles. But Ashby's book, you could check out his book on Egyptian yoga, not the Egyptian yoga book, but hold on. I don't want to take up time searching for books, but his book on the postures, actually he goes into it. There's also read that, yeah, some of the postures of Salat comes from ancient Kemet.
Yeah, it's interesting you said it because when you was talking earlier, I was at a picture of thought came in my mind with him sitting in what is it called? Saluj, where when you before and after you make sajda. You sitting on your knees. I seen him in my mind sitting like that with his hands straight on his lap like that. So yeah, it's interesting you say that. And I also, when you talked about keeping your left foot forward, I actually do that in my salat. Not to the extent that it's wide where you can see it, but I do put my left foot a little bit forward for some reason. And it seemed to like have some connection, like you talked about with the right
Right brain.
with the yes. But my last question is this, right? With all the practices that you do and the people you come in contact with and study with and teach, I'm seeing online a new phenomenon occurring with people that do certain exercises like you expressed tonight, where they're engaging in psychokinesis and telekinesis um abilities. I have you seen that? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's certain qigong that you can do, or those that can where you can like harness those abilities. They're also called manifestations. Even with like certain trainings, Taoist, Buddhist training, levitation, there's a lot of extra attention and awareness, also breath control in the mind. So with the I've seen a few, but I don't even know why they're televising it. But there's this video, I think it still might be on YouTube by John Chang, they call him Dynamo Jack. He's from he's Chinese, but he lived in Indonesia. The guy who set the paper on fire. It is true, but I know one person, well, two, who can set the paper on fire and moving objects as well. Those are just manifestations of the practices. The thing is, you're not supposed to get caught up in it. You're supposed to be taking that A train to Allah, and then Allah inside. So a lot of people get caught up into the manifestations, which we shouldn't do because they're going to come. They're going to come. You have something power like that, you don't let nobody. Why would you put it on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm starting to see. Yeah, I'm starting to see people make these videos and they moving objects and things like that. But more importantly, I was asking because they talk about these certain practices that you talking about that they engage in.
Yeah. So the first time I came in contact with that information again was John Chang. He was an acupuncturist, and he also cultivated this power to move energy throughout the body, set paper on fire, electric shock. So if you type in YouTube John Chang, you can, there's probably like a couple of 14-minute videos on him where these two brothers were interviewing him back in, I would say, like the late 80s. And if you really want to like read up on it, you could buy Costas Dana's book, The Maga of Javis, or if you type in the Maga, MAGA of Java, JAVA. It's the audio book is on YouTube. It's like 9 hours. I have the book. I read the book quite a few times, and a few of the students' books. But the only thing is this training. The training is you could say, if you don't follow the rules, you can really mess yourself up. But then there are other systems as well, well, you're going to get these manifestations. The thing is, you don't show off, and I don't know why people come online with it. I don't know. Some of it is real, some of it is fake. I'll put it that way, and I'll leave it as that. But yeah, that system of John Chang is called MOPI, MOPAI, MOPI system. So the Magus of Java, if you want to have time to listen to an audiobooks where it's split it up into several days, you could listen to the audiobook of Consus, the guy from Greece who went to the jungles of Java to find Indonesia to find him and trained with him. But again, it's a dangerous system as well if you don't follow the rules. All systems, all technology has rules. You gotta follow it. Alhamdulillah.
Shukran, thank you, brother, for that. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions, concerns? Yeah, that book on Sufi healing is good. I have a copy of that. And then yeah, the Egyptian yoga book. It's the other book on his the Kemetic postures, the yoga. So yoga comes out of Kemet. I forgot the name of it. I'll find the name and see if I'll put it in one of the groups. But that book of Sufi healing is good, very good. All right. Does anyone have any questions? It's 19 minutes to 10 here. Going once, going twice. All right, so I guess we'll close out. The shake and stop, we'll close this out. Or if you want me to close this out, with a few prayers. Not sure, but I'd like to thank everyone for showing up, and I hope I've presented this presentation to where it's understandable and transliterated into like layman's terms. But it's something we should know about ourselves, because with the spiritual technology and then the technology of the body of science, you should have the basic foundation of science of the body, how your body works, how sound affects the body. Like I said, zikrs, you have vowels pronounced in like Latin vowels or the Spanish vowels, like A, E, I, O, U. How they relate to the chakra systems. So like I is pronounced E in Latin, in Spanish, and that affects the crown and brow chakra. And depending, you can put it in a consonant, like and after the vowel, or you can add in two consonants before and then after, like a prefix and the suffix, to pronounce the sound. So you have E, then you have E, which is E is I, E is E. Oh, wow. And then for sexual organs is and then things for the base chakra, from what I learned. I haven't done that in a long time. But anyways, I digress. But thank you everyone for showing up. So we'll close out. With prayer. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلاة الفاتحة. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. آيات الكرسي. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Love, light, and balance. Balance is always the order of the day, every day, even when you sleep, even when you zikr. Balance. Balance is key. Balance is always key. So sometimes there's a little bit of darkness there as well, because some of that has to protect you as well. But love, light, balance. I always like to say balance. So I'm alaikum, everyone. Rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Juma.
Alaikum salam wa alaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
Allah barakatuhu. Good thanks, stop. Wow.
Thank you everyone for showing up. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Alhamdulillah.